In this video, we will discuss some basics on Proc SQL. Structured Query Language, or SQL, is a standard language that is widely used to retrieve and update data in tables and views. It is originally designed as a query tool for relational databases, but it is now used by many software products. So the SQL procedure just use SQL to query SAS dataset, generate reports from SAS datasets, combine SAS datasets in many ways, create and delete SAS data files, views, and indices, and update existing SAS dataset. So it can replace multiple data and proc steps with one query. It is not a replacement, but a augmentation for the SAS data step. So SQL has this syntax. We begin with proc SQL. Notice, so to end this procedure, we need to use quit, but not run. So in this SQL, in one SQL, so we may have multiple select statement. So one select statement is one query. So here I say the proc SQL does not need to repeat it with each query. So what I mean is, so we can have multiple query. So basically multiple select statement inside of one proc SQL. So each statement is processed individually. And so no proc print step is needed to view query results. Okay. So before we continue, so there are some terms I need to mention. So when you do data processing, or when you use SAS, or when you use SQL, so sometimes they use different names. For a data, so we call it a SAS dataset, right? But when you do data processing, sometimes people will call it a file. And so in SQL, we may call it a table or view. But essentially they mean the same thing. For observations, and so it can also be called record or maybe row in SQL. For variables in SAS, so it is also called field in data processing or maybe column in SQL. So let's look at one simple example of SQL. Select clouds, so select columns to be included. Okay. And so from clouds just specifies the name of the SAS dataset. So where clouds select rows to be selected. So notice in one query, select and from are required, but all remaining are optional. So notice, so this is one statement. So what I mean is, see, from select to where, see, there's only one semicolon in the end. I think the meaning of this one is seems easy to understand, right? See, I want to select a variable name and a variable department and a variable exam 1. So select these three variables from this dataset where gender equals to F. So basically we just only pick all female students, right? So again, so select rows to be included, or select variables to be included. So where just specify condition to select rows or select observations. So let's try this example. Notice in this example, so cause in this class, so I will use multiple data sets. So let's just load them together. So the first one is about grades. See, we have a name of students and gender, department, and also exam scores for those students. The second example we may use, so this is called Pokemon. So have you played the game Pokemon Go? Okay, so just that Pokemon. This dataset, so we have the name of the those Pokemons and the type, and so also some statistics for those Pokemon. So like the HP value or attack defense value and those those values. Yeah, so we have many, in total 800, I think, 800 Pokemon. The last example we will use is called employee. So that just includes the name of the employee, name, right, and the hire date, and maybe the salary, and so also some information for those employee. And the first example we want to show is this one, right? So Proc SQL. See here, I just want to select all female students, right? And so just display this four variable. Okay, Proc SQL. If you run this one, SAS just will show the result of the query in the result tab. Okay. Here I just, for the select statement, I just list all clause, so SAS support. Yeah, so from and where we saw that already. And so we will mention those remaining clause one by one. So first, order by. So what is order by? So just see, after you select those female students, right? And so you may not want to order just by, basically you just want to specify a order, I mean just specify a variable, so such that the observations will be sorted according to that variable. Yeah, so here what we do is we can say order by exam1 DS. Yeah, so this just means in descending order of exam1. Right, you can see, so this is a much convenient, right? So if you use data step, so you need first create a subset of the variable, and so then use proc sort to sort the data. Yeah, but using Proc SQL, so we just do this by one statement. Yeah, so basically order by just specify how rows are ordered. Yeah, so next, we will mention more options. You can say select star from grades. Yeah, so this just indicate all variables from a data set. Yeah, so we can check that. See, select star from grades. Okay. Yeah, just display all variables. So for this one, we just want to define a new variable, average, right? So this average just will be exam1 plus exam2 divided by 2. So then we just say, in this way. See, this is just how that variable is calculated, right? So we just use exam1 plus exam2 divided by 3 as, yeah, just basically the result of this calculation will be saved as a new variable average. Right, yeah, so then you run this one, you can see, yeah, so then we will have an average, right? So this is just will be the average of exam1 and exam2. Here I just want to mention distinct. So distinct just remove a duplicate rows. Yeah, so for example, so if I first drop this guy, I just drop this one. I select gender and department. I just pick two variables from gender. From grades from this data set. Yeah, so if you run it, so you will notice, see, there are many duplicates, right? You can see male math, so they are duplicate, right? So female forestry, so they are duplicate. If you want to remove those duplicate, so here you only need to write distinct. Yeah, so then SAS will select distinct rows for these two variables. Right, okay, so this is this one. What is this? So for those, see, we mentioned we can calculate a variable. Create a new variable, right? Yeah, but if in the same query, so if you want to use this calculated newly defined variable, so then you need to say calculated average. for example, so if you drop that calculated average, right? So if you just directly say average, yeah, because so the average is defined here, right? Yes, but if you run this one, SAS will show a error. So the following column are not find in the contributing table. So average. So this variable is not found. Yeah, but if you use calculated and calculated, yeah. So if you run this one, then SAS will know. So this variable is just newly defined in that query. So what's the meaning of this one? See, this just shows, see, just I want to pick name, right? So then I want to get the average of exam 1 and exam 2. So here, of course, so this is not really needed, but I just want to show. Yeah, so I just use this calculated average multiplied by 2, right? So I get the sum. So then I pick students whose average is larger than 85, right? Yeah, so then this is the result of this query. Yeah, so I just pick all students whose average is larger than 85. Yeah, you can see, so for this query, the syntax, I mean, so how to write the code, so it's very similar to our natural language, right? Yeah, as long as you can clearly specify so what columns you want and what rows you want, and so then you should be able to write down this query. So what is this one? So this one just means you can specify label or you can specify a format in your output, right? So label, see, when you show the result, the first usually the column are identified by the name of the variable, right? So instead of the name, so if you want the text more meaningful, so you can use label instead. So if you want to specify label just after the name of the variable, you just say label equals, see, just include the label, right? Or if you want to specify format, you just say format equals something, right? So right after the name of the variable. Oh, by the way, I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not. For in the select clause, right? So for those variables, each of the variables should be separated by comma, right? Yeah, should be separated by comma. And let's run this one. You can see. Yeah, so then SAS will show student name, right? For exam 1, so it is displayed in the format 4.1 as we specified here, right? Yeah, as a comparison, see, you can remember this output. So if I drop the format, if I drop the label, right? Yeah, so then this is how this looks like, right? See, so here, so SAS just use the name of the variable. So for this value, so SAS just display it using the default format. Okay. For this one, you can just insert strings to improve readability, right? You can see, so name. So here in the parentheses, I just list some character string, right? Separate by comma. Yeah, so SAS just essentially just treat this as a variable, as a variable with constant value. So, right. Yeah, so then this is also another string, a character string. So if you run this one, so SAS just will show, see, Mia so got 92 points in exam 1, and so similarly, right? So essentially, see, like here, so SAS just like insert one variable, right? Or in the end, SAS just essentially SAS insert one variable with constant value. Coalesce function. So what's that? So for coalesce function, I think let's see. I think so we've already discussed those already, right? Yeah, so then for coalesce function, just evaluate a list of values and return the first non-missing value. What does this mean? See, if you look at the Pokemon, so maybe we look at the Pokemon first. Print data Pokemon, right? You can see, so we have two variables, one called name, one called name2, right? So what we want to do is, well, so I want to use name2, but for name2, some of the value are missing, right? So see, if the name2 is not missing, so then I just want to use this name. So if the value is missing, so then I just use the value in name to replace it. So this is the purpose. So then we just use this class function, right? So then I just use name2. So by default, so if name2 is not missing, so then the value will be that of name2. So if the missing is, if the value is missing, yeah, so then we just use the value of name instead, right? So then this is a new variable, so then I define it as, so name updated, right? So let's check this query. You can see, so for the name updated, right, because name2 is missing, so then this value equals the value of name. Yeah, but for this one, it's not missing, so then the value just equal to the value of name2. Yeah, so this is a very convenient function. Okay, I think so. I mentioned so were those already. Move on to summary functions. Summary functions, yeah, so they are used to compute summary statistics, right? So we can have mean, average, essentially, so they are the same. And so we have count. So count just count the number of observations. Yeah, so we have maximum, minimum, sum, STD. STD means a standard deviation. VAR just the variance. N-miss, so number of missing values. Yeah. So for those summary functions, so they can be used in different way. So when only one column in summary function, it calculates the summary of observations. Yeah. So for example, so if you say select, so name exam, see this is mean exam 1 as exam 1 from grades, right? So if you run this code, let's see. Right, see, exam 1. So this just will be the average of exam 1 of the whole data. Okay. Yeah, but however, so if in the parentheses, if you include 2 columns, right? So then the calculation is performed for each row in the dataset. So if you say mean in the parentheses, you have exam 1 and exam 2, right? So in this case, see in the output, so I pick select columns, exam 1, exam 2, and their mean. So in this case, so the average is computed for each row. So basically, so this mean will be the average of these 2 numbers. So this average, this mean, this value is the average of these 2 numbers. Yeah, so this is not the average of all students anymore. This is a little bit confusing, right? And so you need to be very careful, okay? Yeah. By default, so the count, of course, count, so just count the number of observations. Yeah, but if you want to count unique values, you can say like, see, count distinct department as department count from grades, right? There are 4, okay? So if you drop this distinct, so this count just will count, so the total observations, yeah, so that will be 22, okay? So this is distinct, right? Yeah, so this just counts the unique value. So those functions, those summary functions, so usually combined with a group by. right? So for group by just means for those summary statistics are calculated at different level or level combination you specified in group by. So for example, in this way, see, I want to select distinct department and gender, right? So then I calculate the mean of exam one. Yeah, because we have this group by. Yeah, so this mean this summary statistics is calculated for each department gender combination. Yeah, so let's run this one. Yeah, as a comparison, I think so. First, I just have select the name, select department, select exam one, and also the mean of exam one, right? So as exam one mean. See, I have group by department. See, those mean just with the average of exam one within the department. For example, see, for all those students in forestry, so you may notice, so they have the same number of exam one, right? Yeah, because so those average will be the same for all students in forestry, right? So also see, those are the students in math, so they have the same average. Yeah, because the average is calculated for students in math department. Okay. What is this code? Yeah, so select. So I just want to show the department and I want to show the gender. So I want to show the average of exam one, exam two. So here I also specify the format will be 4.1. Yeah, so they are grouped by department and gender. So the distinct is I just want to remove those duplicate rows. You can see, maybe I run this one first. Right, see, for each department and for each gender, for each level combination, so I have the mean for exam one and exam two. If I drop this option distinct, so what the result will be? Oh, seems this one is okay. Yeah, so SAS automatically do that distinct. Distinct. Yeah, so because originally I thought so SAS will have will have the same number of row as the original data. Yeah, but however, so for this one, so I still prefer to write this distinct. Yeah, just make sure. Okay, so I have just one level combination for each row. Okay. So what is this one? So this just essentially, I just want to get the frequency table for each level and gender combination, right? So I have count star. Count star, so this just means I count the observations, right? So this one, see, this essentially just give us the same result as, so when you run the frequency table. So sorry, when you use a proc flag to generate a frequency table. Yeah, so then I can do that. So in one query in Proc SQL. Okay. Having clause. So having clause select entire group of data. So it is used with at least one summary function and one group by clause. So where clause just select data based on value for individual row, right? So that's the difference. So for example, so here, so what we do is, see, in the result, I want to show the department, gender, and so the average of exam one. So those average is calculated. See, we have group by, right? So average are calculated by this department and gender level combination. So yeah, notice, so they should be separated by comma. This is one difference from the data step, right? So in SAS data step, so usually the variable should be separated by space. Yeah, but in SAS in Proc SQL, the variable should be separated by comma. Having average greater than 85, right? So I just want to select the gender level, department gender accumulation such that so the average is greater than 85. Yeah. See, there are only two of them, right? See, if we drop that, if we drop this having clause, yeah, so then we can compare the result, right? Yeah, so originally you can see, so we have the average for each department gender accumulation. Yeah, but here, so I want to only keep those average is greater than 85. So this is the purpose of having clause. Well, so then for the while statement, most of the operator we discussed for while statement in data step can be used here. Yeah, but in Proc SQL, so it provides something even more. Like we can say, like, see, for example, so while last name like. So this like is very basically just select rows by comparing character values to a pattern. See, we see last name like age %sign. So this %sign can replace any number of characters. Yeah, so then this just means we just want the last name start with age and followed by 0 or more characters. Yeah, so for example, like age, or maybe any name start with age. So like Hall, Hicks, Henry, Hartman, right? So maybe we can show like that. See? Yeah. So where last name like age, right? So another one is use underscore. So underscore just replace individual characters. Yeah. So if you say like age followed by 4 underscore, right? So then the name just will be age followed by at most 4 characters, right? So see, of course, any of the characters can be space or can be empty, right? So like whore, so this is just age followed by 3 characters. So this follows this pattern, or maybe Hicks, yeah, but not highly, yeah, because this one is age followed by 5 characters, right? See, like let's try to mention this. So this is age followed by any number of characters, yeah, but this is age followed by 4 characters. Yeah, so if we run this one, so this is the first query. You can see, so we have all the names start with age, right? But this one, so age followed by up to 4 characters. Escape clause just specify a character as an escape character. So what does this mean is, see, because those %sign and underscore, so seems has some special meaning. So in this query, right? Yeah, but if I just specifically want those special symbols, yeah, for example, so I just want to FA_1, yeah, but I do not want this underscore to be interpreted as in this way. I think this underscore can be replaced by any other symbols, right? So we only want this underscore, but we do not want this FAB1 or maybe FAC1. See, those just this character is replaced by anything else, right? Yeah, just to make this just tells us we explicitly want this symbol, right, or this character. Yeah, so then we just write this slash. And so in the escape clause, you just tells us, well, so anything after these characters, so will be interpreted as that character but with no special meaning. Yeah, so like this one, we run it in here, right? See, I just create a data set, right? So the name and the job code. So I have different ones. Here I just have, see, with underscore. So but and this one is with the escape clause. Yeah, so if we run that one, see, for this one, just see this underscore so can be replaced by any character, right? Yeah, but this one only pick this particular string. Okay. This one is sounds like. Well, so if you want to find someone, but basically you just want to find some characters, so similar to the character you specify. So for example, so while last name equal star whole, so just means ask us to find some name similar to that. So basically SAS will select Hill, Hoyer, or Haley, right? Because they similar to that one. So SAS has a algorithm, yeah, so to decide so how similar that is. Yeah, so this is helpful. So means if you want to find some name, but you cannot exactly remember that name, right? So if you run this one, yeah, so SAS will pick or identify some names similar